I look like a startled wabbit. Good morning. Let me just do this quick clicky thing here and see what happens. So we have somebody drilling upstairs. Uh, it sounds like they think I'm a bank vault and they're, trying to come in. So if it starts in the middle of this recording, and I know I'm early, but I'm just kind of giving some advance warning before we're actually live, do not be alarmed. Do not be alarmed. Okay, so quick sip of coffee because I have a lot of stuff to unpack with you today. Good. All right. It is 9:58, so we're a couple of minutes early. However, better to be early than late. My name is Abby Hagyard, if this is your first time joining me. And can you? There she is. Hello, Mom. And oh, look over there. So over there, there. It's also the Care Bears. So friend, wish, and love a lot there. And Mom, I hope this is okay, and I hope you can hear me over this because it's going to be going on. It started 2 hours ago. And if you can't hear it, good morning, Charles. Can you hear the drilling? Charles, can you hear the drilling? Tell me if you can hear the drilling. Can you hear it? Can you hear it? You have to tell me if I have to raise my voice. He can't hear it. Okay. All right. So here's the deal. For those of you who are just joining me, I decided a couple of years ago, almost 3 now, that it sounds like a jackhammer in there. Yes, it does. Okay. But you can hear me okay even when it's going on. You can hear me. Let me know, because you can't do this, but let me know if I need to raise my voice. Okay. So what's happening is they're repairing upstairs. Anyway, sounds good. Okay. Thank you. What I decided to do almost 3 years ago now was get everybody who was keen to try something different, a different attack, a different method to make life feel more amazing and to feel more balanced and to feel more in control of what's going on, that I could walk people through the process that I use in my life. And I've had a lot of practice. Military kid, all kinds of ups and downs and backs and forth, unexpected, a lot of them. And then all the upheavals and craziness of show business, and then some other personal stuff that was really, a challenge. And the thing is, my challenges aren't any different than anyone else's. What is different is the fact that I've had these repeated opportunities to figure out how I could best navigate what's going on in order to live my life on my terms and accomplish the things that I want. And because this is an ongoing challenge for all of us, and because for several years we were all trying to get our bearings and manage all the new challenges that came along with a global health issue, emergency, and we really weren't prepared. That's from upstairs. Charles. They're renovating the apartment upstairs. Why does it sound like it's in? Does it sound like it's beside me? Anyway, the reason that I felt this was a great time is that I'm on social media just like everybody, and I have begun in the last few years seeing a lot of people appearing to be concerned, to be exhausted, to be confused, no map, no directions, no idea. And I thought, you know what? I could maybe be part of the solution of this. So this is the reason for these videos. And this is the reason for my entire program, which I have called Pivotry Emotion. And so a pivot is an abrupt turn. Pivotry is how we choose the way we turn, how we choose to turn before the thing happens. Instead of reacting in a panic, recognizing, assessing, and responding so that we're in charge. We lean in, we're in charge, and the whole exercise feels better that way. It feels like we've got it. We may be confused, we may not know exactly what we've got, but we do know that there's a sense of ownership going on here. And that can make all the difference. So anyway, that's the reason behind this. So, excuse me. And so, by the way, in doing these videos twice a week, the idea is that every time I come up with a theme to discuss that continues us on this path, continues us on this, how do I get ahead of this? How do I make sure I'm the one behind the wheel, driving the boat, driving the bus? So on Tuesday, my question was, if it's not good for us, why do we keep doing it? And the conversation that I had with that was that while it doesn't look like it's good for us, while it doesn't feel like it's good for us, most of the time we keep doing it because A, it's a habit, B, a habit is a comfort zone. But door number 3, the insidious thing, is that sometimes these unhelpful things we do are part of our wiring, are part of our backstory, are part of the instructions that we believe were given to us. And the reason we keep following is because we believe the instructions were given to us by people who care. And whether that's true or not, it is our natural inclination to stick with the tribe, to stick with what's safe, to stick with what's familiar, to stick with what is decided by and driven by the alphas who keep us safe. That makes sense of why we keep doing a thing that isn't helpful, right? Today, what I want to talk about is the next step into this. How many of us suddenly realize, we wake up one day and we realize that we've lost our why? Not our way. We know where we are. We think we know where we're going. But we wake up one day and we ask ourselves the WIIFM question: what's in it for me? And because everybody has the WIIFM song, right? What's in it for me? And we ask ourselves, what's in it for me today? And the little voice says, I got nothing. There's nothing in this for me today. And that's really unsettling. That's really scary and confusing. And wait, what? What do you mean I have no why? Where did that go? Why am I, people are showing up for work. They're in the car, they're on the way, or they're putting their socks on and they're thinking, why am I doing this? What is in it for me? And then we wait for the answer and nothing happens. What did that? How did we lose the ownership, the control, the hands-on of our reason for doing it? What was the decision we made to say yes in the first place? Do we remember that? Like a lot of times we get a job, we take a job because we need the money. We take a job because we temporarily, maybe long-term, we're kind of out of options. We don't feel that we have any bargaining power. So we say yes. And that continues to be the why. The why is I pay the bills. The why is that I can show up, I can do my job, I can walk away at the end of the day, I can be with the people I love. So I'm prepared to invest that part of my day, my me, my energy, my intelligence, my creativity. I'm willing to invest that. I'm willing to invest that because there is an outcome that has value for me. That's the barter, that's the give and take, right? That's the currency of exchange that we are using. My value, my time, my sweat equity in exchange for what you're getting. And so sometimes, one day, we get into relationships, friendships, partnerships, collaborations, and we wake up one day and say, you know what? Not cutting it. It was okay. It was okay. It was great. And all of a sudden, maybe gradually, but all of a sudden, it's not good enough. It's that Pivotry turning point moment when we have gone along and said, we start by saying, yeah, this is good. This is great. And then we say, it's good. It's good. It's fine. It's fine. And then we said, it's not that good. And then one day we've said, it's not good enough. We've hit a wall and we've said, this is not a good exchange for me anymore. Do I have other options? So the first thing I want to talk about is getting rid of confusion. The first thing I want to talk about is taking that deep breath. The first thing I want to talk about is getting our ownership back. Getting ourselves feeling like, even if this isn't working, even if we don't know what our next step is right now, we are still behind the wheel. This is still our bus. We are still in the boat, and our Viking oarsmen are with us. We are in control. Okay. So there's two things that I think are really important to think about. Really important to just pause on, ponder on, and taste a little bit, and see if you see the value. Okay. Sounds like they're working on it. Sounds like they're working on it. I can't see it. Sounds like they're working on breaking in. So as long as you can hear me, Charles, as long as it's not difficult to hear me, if it is difficult, you say, tell me I have to raise my voice, okay? Please. So the first thing I want to say as a reset tool, this is the reset, the where to start before we start, right? The reset is this. A lot of the time, we lose our why because we get distracted by small things. We get distracted by minor discomforts. Somebody does a thing we don't like and we say nothing, or we say something and they keep doing it. And we never really take the time to have the sit down and say, listen, I said it's really uncomfortable for me. Is there not something we can work on? If they're not willing to work on it, that's important. It means that they're not invested in this the same way we are. That's something to discuss. That's something to think about. That's something to put on a list of, is it possible that the shelf life of this experience has hit a wall or turned a corner? Is that possible? If so, we need a plan. So that's the first kind of heads up. Can we see the moment where it suddenly stopped working? We hit that wall. So I want you to think about this. Everyone knows what it means when someone says, fight back. Don't let people walk all over you. Fight back. Establish your boundaries. Hold your ground. Fight back. We've all heard it. We've all bought into it. We've all taken ownership at one point or another and said, that's enough. I'm stopping you here. When we fight back to police our boundaries, To make it clear, we are also making it clear that we are remaining engaged in this scenario. When we say, this is the rule, this is the boundary, I am telling you, this is warning number however many. If you wish this to continue, this is the rule. That's fighting back. That's standing up for us. Now, here is what I want you to think about. Sometimes it's time to fight forward. Think about that. Fighting back is discussing with the people we are engaged with what isn't working, what is wrong. And if you want to stay where we are, that is important. However, if we have hit a wall and we are ready, we have said it's not good enough, then the decision is to fight forward. And fighting forward, by my definition, is saying, I am pivoting. This is Pivotry in motion. I am choosing me. And I am choosing a fresh path. And the only way you will come along is all on you. That's all on you. It does not mean I will invite you. It does not mean I will accept you. It means the tide has turned. The tide has turned. The wind has shifted. And this is my plan. We can remain in place, fighting back, defending ourselves against people who sometimes just enjoy the adrenaline rush of the attack. They're not really interested in anything beyond that. It's it's the cheese doodle ducks. They're just into the drama. Okay, then why are we fighting back? We have more things. We have more, bigger, better things to do. Carry on. And when we say to ourselves, yes, but they shouldn't be allowed to get away with it. Okay. That's not ours to fix. That's not ours to own. What is ours to own is how we move forward, is how we grow. It's how we evolve. There is a middle ground here, and that is if we don't establish barriers and we don't maintain our walls, that behavior goes unchecked. Do we not have a responsibility for the tribe? And the answer is we have a responsibility to us first. What's in it for me? What is my why? And sometimes we forget that our why is why we came. Our why is our curiosity, our excitement, our willingness to engage for us. If we forget that and we invest ourselves in something else that is not our why, then our why goes away, doesn't it? If we are focused elsewhere, there's no one minding the store. If we are not focused on the things that make us excited to get up in the morning, Charles has a list in the morning. Hug cat. Have coffee. Remember to put on pants. Keys, wallet, head, the whole thing. Those are Charles's why. Those are his priorities. And then he heads off in the direction that he wants to go. It is the same for all of us. Did I want to work for a difficult, annoying, bullying boss? No. So what did I do? Well, I quit. Did I have another job lined up? No, I didn't. And it was scary. However, the longer I stayed, the more unhappy I got. And so I was motivated to find something else. And it was a burn the boats moment. If we burn the boats, they can't go home. They're working on the Trans-Canada Highway. Well, they're Charles, they're only working on the section of it that's actually in my apartment on the 16th floor. It's kind of an uphill. The ramp needs work. So this is the first thing that I think is critical, crucial, important, and exciting to think about. Why we lose our why is often because we got distracted and we fought a battle that was never part of our why. And we got caught up in the battle. We got caught up in the getting even. We got caught up in trying to teach them, I'll teach them a lesson. That's not why we came. I have a client who is an extraordinary human being who is doing incredible things in life after a massive accident and a severe traumatic brain injury. And one of the huge challenges that this client of mine has is that there's a reset thing that happens quite often on its own. And a strategy that we've discussed that we've created steps for disappears. And it's not 51st dates, but it's I have to remember to remember. I have to remember that I put a list of, is it this? Is it this? If not, then don't do it. And it's frustrating for her. And, part of my role in my relationship with this client is to say, yep, fix that. That's that thing. Oh, right. Thank you. Because it's not, mutiny. It's not, maybe I'm right and maybe Abby's wrong. It's not that at all. It's something that is broken. And so we have to find a workaround for that broken thing. And the workaround is, if you have a checklist, but part of the problem is remembering to look at the checklist, okay, then you need a partner. You need somebody who says, you know what, I'll check in on you. I'll check in on you every so often, make sure you're on the right path. Because, and I have a social media friend who was diagnosed with epilepsy. I have a client, a former book client, who was attacked in a domestic violence situation, hit on the head, and suddenly developed grand mal epilepsy. And one of the things that happens as a byproduct of the seizures is either temporary or long-term memory loss. And so it's a constant struggle to remember why did I walk into this room kind of thing. And it's disheartening and it's upsetting, and it's easy to get caught up in the fighting back. It's not fair. Why me? It's easy to go there. We all go there. The thing is, fighting back is an unconscious stalling tactic. Fighting back serves that. It serves that issue. It doesn't serve us. Fighting forward serves us. And when I engage with this person's social media, it is normal for people to be angry. It is normal for people to feel somehow imperfect and unworthy and shamed and exhausted, and why bother? It's normal when our best efforts don't get us very far. However, we have the choice. It's not always easy. It is so much easier to say my comfort zone is lying down, face down on the kitchen floor because the tiles are cool. Oh, good morning, Freddie. Drilling for oil. Yes, they are. They've stopped. Maybe all the way through this. So what I want us to understand today, the question was why we keep doing things if they're not good for us could be part of what message we thought we were given, that we thought we heard, that we thought we understood, that may have worked a year ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 20 minutes ago. If it's not working now, it's not our message, it's not our instruction, because we change. If the message stays the same, we change. If the message stays the same and we change, it's not our message anymore. It's the message for us. Yes, statement I made on Tuesday. Every license we apply for has to be renewed. Whatever license, driving license, business license, license to operate machinery, whatever license to operate that, whatever license we get has to be renewed. Why? Because things change. Things change. And the license, the people from the health and safety will look at a construction site. They will go into restaurants. They will go into personal care facilities. They will go into retail. Why? They want to make sure that the fact that you qualified then must be re-examined to make sure you qualify now. Okay, we get to renew our license. We get to renew our agreement to follow the instruction we were given then by fighting forward instead of complaining that it's not working, instead of pretzelizing ourselves into some sort of shape or form or attitude or heartbeats to fit the instruction, to fit the agreement, to fit the license we signed, we agreed to back then. We have permission to say, what's in it for me? If it's not enough, we have permission to say, it's time to revisit the license. It's time to revisit the agreement. It's time to revisit the instructions. It's time to revisit the decision we made then, because the decision we need now, because now is where we are. As we prepare to move forward, now we need current tools. We need current permissions. We need relevant information. There is no value. She had to relearn things. Exactly. This is what Charles is saying, that, you know, his wife had an aneurysm, and there was a reset for you. And she's had to relearn everything. And Charles has had to relearn everything. And it's normal for both of them to say, it didn't used to be this way. And the answer is, that's right. That was then. There's no point in fighting back. What we want to do is fight forward. We want to be, you know, they say the best defense is a great offense. We want to have a great offensive strategy to take on the challenges today that are affecting what we bring today, right? So instead of fighting back, instead of rushing off to fight other people's battles for them, instead of rushing this way to defend situations and scenarios that haven't been renewed either, our first job is to make sure we are ready, to make sure we are equipped, to make sure we have our permissions, our purposes, our intentions clear, and that we understand and support the fact that until and unless we choose what's in it for me, we have no fuel. We have no internal compass. We have no focus and no direction, and therefore no passion. When a job, and I know many of you have found themselves in jobs where increasingly, insidiously, scope creep, which is, you know, the scope of the job was this, and all of a sudden it's just a little bit, then it's a little bit, and it's a little bit, it's a little bit, and we didn't agree to any of these little bits. We agreed to the first one. We might have said, oh, okay, I'll do an extra hour, but we didn't say, and you could call me at 10 o'clock at night. We didn't say we would drop everything on our weekend. We didn't say we would work through lunch. The contract we signed needs to be revisited. We need to be able to sit down and say, this is what I agreed to, and what you stated in the hiring is this. And now all of a sudden you're asking me to do things that aren't in this contract. And you are not prepared to discuss what I should get in return. So if you ask for more, then I should be able to ask for more. If you are going to provide me with less, how does it even remotely seem reasonable that I should be the one to pick up your slack? These should be discussions we can have without a whole lot of bruised egos involved. Why do bruised egos get involved? Because we are in fight back mode. We are in defend the status quo mode. And that's not how growth happens. Ego is status quo. Status quo is same old, same old. You can't grow. You can't grow if everything stays the same. So if scope creep is an employer's effort to grow, the employer has to remember that the employees are part of the success of the growth. You can't give less food. You can't put less fuel. You can't provide less tools, fewer tools, and expect the same or bigger outcome. That is the Department of Unintended Outcomes. And we don't want to work there. So my conversation today is this. Why do we lose our why? The answer is we forget to re-examine our why. The WIIFM song needs, I think, a different term. It needs another letter. Instead of it being WIIFM, here's the deal, kids and kidlets. It needs to be WIIFMT. What's in it for me today? What's in it for me today? WIIFMT. WIIFMT. What's in it for me today? And if we ask that every morning, and we ask it every night, did I achieve my WIIFMT? I think we have a really dropped a body. If we ask ourselves, what's in it for me today? And if at the end of the day, after we look at our later folder and see all the stuff that we set aside to keep ourselves on track, WIIFMT, what's in it for me today? Did I achieve it? Did I stay on track? Did I stay focused on why I'm here and why I came? Because if I answered what's in it for me today, if I identified it, and then I kept myself focused on achieving that, we don't lose our why. How does it happen? How does it happen is this. We forget. Things don't happen. People change things. People drive change. Change does not drive us if we're doing it right. If we choose to leverage change, if we choose to say, that's changing, how do I own this? Scope creep is happening at my work. We have a new challenge. We have a new challenge. It's exactly the same as all the other big challenges that have come along in our remembered lifetimes. We have a new technology that is taking away a lot of simple, repetitive jobs. It's a artificial intelligence. It's a computerized ability to sift and sort, pack, read a lading bill and fill it. That puts a lot of people out of work. Okay, then what is it that those people are good at doing? They're good at simple repetitive functions. Okay, there are very human repetitive functions that artificial intelligence can't do. And the reason artificial intelligence can't do it is that people, the human brain, can work from scratch. The human brain can originate. Artificial intelligence can only duplicate, can only gather. It can duplicate and aggregate and aggravate. Humans can originate. So whatever the function is, whatever it is people are asking of you, whatever is out there, the way to keep our why front and center, filling our passion, fueling our need, is to ask, what's in it for me today, right now? And if we don't like the situation, we are allowed to revisit the initial agreement. We have the right, we have the freedom, we have the ability to say, I want to take a second look at what I agreed to, because I am not the same. I remember years ago talking to somebody about divorce. And I said, it's not that I'm in favor or not in favor of divorce. What I am in favor of is re-examining why we got together in the first place. Revisiting it regularly, because our priorities change. If the cheerleader and the athlete got together because of their shared passion for the sport, and something happened and the sport is no longer the center, the shared center of their lives, it's time to revisit why they're together. What else do they have in common? What else can they share? If it turns out nothing, then that's not a relationship based on the two of them. That's a relationship based on a third external thing that no longer has relevance. It's not in it for them anymore. It's not the shared purpose today. If we wish to stay together, we have to find another reason. We have to find other reasons. If you don't look for them, if you don't find them, then you remain together unhappy. You remain together with no passion involved, with no excitement, with no anticipation. Because if you don't find and upgrade and reset and use your Pivotry skills to find the why that matters now, the WIIFM, then you're living a half life. You're fighting back. You're revisiting things that no longer fuel you, purpose you. And where is the sense in that? Every person I have met who has enjoyed a long and satisfying and comforting and cherishing relationship of any kind, whether it's romantic, whether it's cohabiting, whether it's collaborating, whether it's casual friendship, they have found a way to keep reviving, reinventing, redefining the why the relationship works, the WIIFM. Every time, without fail, those people have said, this matters, this matters. How do you feel about it? Over and over. And sometimes when it doesn't matter anymore, they have said, well, what can I put in place? Because I really want this to work. How can I make this viable? What can we do together? How do we bring to our shared thing enough stuff that the gears mesh and it keeps on moving. We cannot fight forward if we are fighting back. We cannot move forward if our focus is in the rear view mirror. The reason the window at the back of the vehicle is smaller than the window at the front is because we're not going that way. The reason there are windows on this side is to make sure that when we're going to do something, that we can see an issue before it becomes a disaster. Every person who takes professional driver training is taught to look in 4 places, in rotation, nonstop. You look left, front, right, back, left, front, right, back. You never don't. You don't do it so fast that you throw up, but it is a constant thing with your eyes. Check, 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 all the time. Why? Because I'm a professional driver and I took training and I got licensed. You know what they ask of me? Every few months, couple of years, take the test again. Make sure you didn't add any improvements that we now need to remove in order that you are safe on the road, not a danger to yourself or others, that you understand the responsibilities. Every time there's new technology in a vehicle, a professional driver has to learn what those things do. Every time. A long time ago, they didn't have air brakes. When they instituted air brakes, all drivers had to take a separate air brake test. They had to learn how to operate air brakes and take that test. If they couldn't pass that test, they couldn't drive, because there's 2 things you want to be able to do in a vehicle. One is go and the other is stop. Very important, both equally important. So in our conversation today, why do we lose our why? How does that happen? How does that sneak up on us? And the fact is, it is scope creep. It erodes all by itself when nobody is paying attention, when nobody is behind the wheel. If you are behind the wheel and you say, look at that, the steering wheel's not moving, this is really good, this is a well-balanced car, all right. Yeah, no, don't do that. Because while the car may be well-balanced, the road itself may not be well-balanced. The other people in the other vehicles may not be well-balanced. And you are not in control of any of those other things. And when you take your hands off the wheel and say, look at that, I'll go get a coffee. No, see, now you're in, now you are throwing it to the wind and saying, do with me what you will. Why do we lose our why? Because we stop keeping our why. We give it away. We let it go. And the further we move away from our why, the harder it is to find it. We look in that rearview mirror and see our why in the distance waving. Bye. Happily, beautifully, miraculously, we have the opportunity to pick up our why. Like that. Anytime. All the time. It has to matter. What's in it for me today? Find my why. Hug my why. So I think maybe, since I have basically said what I came to say today, that's not going to stop, and we got a great reprieve, and we're getting little reprieves. I want to end this early today. I want to thank you so much for being who you are, for bringing your why to my why. So we have this fabulous experience twice a week. and have had for almost 3 years now. Today's episode 292. We're only a few episodes away from 300, and I think that is a milestone to celebrate. So, between now and next Tuesday, you never know. I have now popped in a couple of times by surprise. I might try to do that again if something really hits me, if I find a why. And I'm kind of liking those pop-ins. I'm thinking it's kind of an unexpected surprise. Like somebody brings you a little present and it's not your birthday, right? When you show up for one of my surprise things, it's my birthday. So between now and Tuesday, the weekend is upon us. For everybody dealing with stuff, with weather, with health, with relationships, with jobs, with unexpected stuff, we have your back. Be safe. Cut yourself some slack. None of us came into the world perfect. Didn't we get it wrong? We don't need to fight back and blame ourselves for getting it wrong. We need to recognize it's not what we wanted. It's not optimal. It's not enough for us. And we have permission to fight forward. Okay? We can fight back. We do it all the time. We have equal permission to fight forward, to own what's coming, to take the shape we want, to use the shape we want, and the power and the fuel and the talent, the ideas and the inspiration to build a path to where we want to go. It's our right. We deserve it. So be good to you. You deserve it. Hug your loved ones. They deserve it. Be safe. Don't be silly in a crisis. Be safe. Fight forward. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you next time. Hopefully that'll be over. Okay.